Today I'm going to give you 3 tips to keep your cute, adorable little puppy from growing up into an aggressive dog. We're going to be talking specifically about how to keep them from being aggressive towards the family. I've got 3 tips for you, but they really fall into 2 buckets. Most dogs that become aggressive to the family do it because they're either guarding a resource, which we're going to talk about, or they're being handled in a way that they don't care for and they're willing to lash out. So let's dive in and I'll show you what to work on. The first thing we're going to talk about is feeding your dog. What I want you to do is I want you to have control while you feed them and also handle them while they're eating. This is easy when they're a puppy, maybe not the control part, but the handling. Almost no puppies when they're young like this are aggressive. That comes with time, and we're going to talk about that. First, I'm going to ask him to stay. Stay. If you need a leash for this process, it's okay. You can see it's really hard for him. He's fighting temptation. When he's done well, I'll tell him, free, and I'll let him eat. And now I want to pet him while he eats. So what I'm looking for is any change in his posture. So I'm petting him, everything's normal. Don't just give one pet and walk away. What can happen is your dog gets used to that, and if you go to come back to the bowl, they guard it because they get used to being able to eat on their own. It's also useful to practice taking the bowl away. And I don't care if he follows it a little bit to eat, but I don't want him trying to pull it out of my hand. So this went exactly the way I'd expect it to. He's a young dog. Like I mentioned a minute ago, dogs of this age almost never have real aggression. It grows through time. But here's the problem. A lot of people try this with their young puppy. They do this once or twice and they're like, hey, no issue, right? He's good, he's sweet. Most dogs that guard their food start at around a year old. And what can happen is you do this once or twice, or even for a few weeks, you stop, and then you try it later on, and now you've got a big problem. So what I want you to do is have some sort of schedule. With a young dog, do this every single meal. You put the food down, you pet them, you make sure they're okay, you take the bowl away. Through time, you can slow it down to maybe every other meal or at least a few times a week. Keep it up until they're 18 months old, roughly. If you can keep it up lifelong, that's even better. But I want you to look for any change in the dog. So if you do this and all of a sudden one day you pet them and they stop eating when you pet them, that's a big warning sign. Or if they start eating really fast, that's a warning sign. Obviously growling or hackles going up would be worrisome. Whale eye is another one where the dog's eyes will get big and they kind of stare at you out of the corner of their eye. If you see that, that's a huge warning sign. Tension through the body, anything different. So you start when they're young, you get a read on their posture, everything is good. You keep working on this. The odds of you having issues are slim to none, but if you do, you'll be able to see them coming because you're going to see a change in your dog's posture. The next thing I want you to work on is handling resources other than food. Now, believe it or not, resource guarding is more likely to occur with bones, toys, or even random things a dog steals. It's way more likely to occur with that than it is with food. So work on your food, but pay a lot of attention to stuff like this. So he has an antler right now. Dogs love these. I want to make sure he handles being petted. Just like with the food, you're looking for a change in his posture. If he hunches down, puts his paws over it, kind of looks like he's trying to cover it, that'd be a big warning sign. All of this is normal. So pet him, hang out, take it away from him, make sure that's good, and then give it back. This should be a fun experience, right? I'm not going to take it away and put it up every single time. I want him to get used to me taking stuff and giving it right back. Here I've got a tissue, or a paper towel. I don't think we're going to see any issue with this right now. He's not going to want it because of the bone. But I want you to think about things like that. Paper towels, tissues, socks, things dogs steal. A lot of aggression happens there. So I want you to set this stuff up. Walk through the house, take a napkin, drop it. Your puppy runs over and grabs it. Follow them, take it, tell them no, whatever word you're using, open the mouth, take it away, and work on this lifelong. Because when a dog steals something and it's forbidden fruit, and especially if they take it somewhere secret, like under a table or into a corner or into their crate, the chances of aggression skyrockets. So definitely work on that. So I mentioned everything in this video would fall into kind of 2 categories. One is a dog guarding their resource, and the other one is the dog being handled in a way that they don't care for, and then they lash out to say, leave me alone. That does happen a lot. So we call these handling exercises. We work on them with every single puppy, and then we keep it up lifelong, as they get older. As you do this, just think about a vet visit. Everything your vet does, you should be doing when you do these handling exercises. So you could start up front, you can look in their eyes, make sure that this goes okay. Open up his mouth. I want to make sure he lets me kind of get in there. Ears as well. So I'm going to look inside the ears. The body itself, handle the body. Paws, huge one. A lot of dogs become aggressive having their nails handled. No issues there. Of course, you can clip the nails too, but this is just a quick exercise you work on every single day. Checking the tail. He's a Frenchie. He doesn't have much of a tail, but a dog with a long tail, you'd lift it up and check. Just everything you can think of that a vet would be doing, handling the body here. If your dog is squirmy, I would work on the settle command if needed, and I would always recommend, hey, little buddy, being behind them and teaching them to kind of stay in this position until you tell them that they can get up. All right, little buddy, free. So I'd work on that every single day. If you don't have time to do this, you probably shouldn't have a dog, because look at what's happening here. This is like petting playtime. You just need to think about it and put this on your mental list. It's going to take you 30 seconds to a minute. If you do everything I recommended every single day, you're at like 2 minutes of work every day. So it's not a big deal. I would recommend keep this stuff up lifelong, and the odds of your dog ever biting a family member are about 0.